Behind the mask.
What up? What's happening, my boy?
What's good, family? Another day in paradise. You know what it is.
No doubt. No doubt, bruh. Good to be back inside of the lounge,
Yes,
right?
indeed. Yes, indeed.
A lot of stuff on our mind today,
Mhm.
but I really wanted to talk to you, and we gonna jump right into it, man. Like the philanthropy side of you, your heart, also dear to my heart,
Mhm.
but really the philanthropy side of just athletes and them giving back.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, that was one of the first things that I saw about you. You took to a serious level. You came up with your foundation, B2B,
Beyond the Burrows.
Beyond the Burrows.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
What was the concept? How did you come up with the name? How did it all first start? Because Beyond the Burrows wasn't the first thing
Nah.
that you decided to do, but I'm pretty sure that was the end result that
Yeah.
everybody now knows as your public charity.
Yeah, my public charity, Beyond the Burrows National Scholarship Fund, created in '07, actually when I still was playing. Went through the stint after we left Buffalo. I didn't know, well, right before I got to Buffalo, I had a little time where I didn't know if I was going to get picked up. So I was a free agent from the end of, the regular season to only to April. But, in the off season, that's an eternity if you don't get signed in free agency.
Feels like a
The
lifetime.
end of April, right before the draft,
Been
I was
there.
like, oh my goodness, like, is it going to happen? Is my career over? So I started thinking of other things I wanted to do. Went back home, and when I visited my school, August Martin High School, South Jamaica, Queens, see it right here on the shirt, you know what I mean? Young 2, Rochdale in the background, Queens get the money. You see what it is.
Two-matic.
You know, nah, it's another Queens native. You see the inspiration. But nah, so went back to my high school, and my high school was on a list of 19 schools in New York City to be closed down because of poor academic standards. Now, prior to that, when I went to high school, you had to be on the list to get into school. So now they're about to shut it down. And I'm asking the counselors, the principal, why. They was like, yo, kids just ain't motivated to go to college anymore. Financial issues, other reasons and obstacles in the hood why they can't go, or they don't feel they can go. And then just the lack of education of parents not knowing where to find funds for students to go to college at, underserved students to go to college at. So again, we created Beyond the Burrows National Scholarship Fund. We offer partial scholarships up to $20,000 over 4 years for students with a college acceptance letter, but an unmet financial need. So basically, you got a letter that's saying, yo, I can go to college, but damn, college costs too much to go to.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm thinking like, if you get that far, why would the obstacle be a financial reason where you can't go? And there's so many so many students that want to go and can't afford it. I'm like, nah, let's remove that obstacle out the way. So now what's your excuse? You know what I mean? So created it in '07, started doing fundraisers, man. And for me, the mindset was the boroughs, New York City was just so big, right? Wherever you go, if somebody's from New York, they're like, oh, what's New York like? Back then people would ask me. And I would think even the imagery with the shirt, like a little kid growing up with these big buildings around us, you have everything you need inside those buildings. You got your pizza shops, you got your baseball fields, your basketball courts, your schools, your shopping centers, grocery stores. You got everything you need, but you got these 13, 15-story buildings around you, and you kind of stuck inside because you can't see beyond that.
Right.
But now I'm walking to school and I see kids or adults rather with suits on, briefcases, shiny shoes. I'm like, yo, they got money. Where they going? They going to Manhattan. Where the money at? So I'm thinking, all right, what's beyond Queens, this borough of Queens? What's beyond Manhattan? And I felt like that's where my success lied. And that's why one of the reasons why I went to Ole Miss, because Beyond the Boroughs led to me getting to the NFL. So it all started though from the education point.
Gotcha. So that was
Feel me?
kind of like, it's fair to say that was your motivation.
Yeah, the educational piece.
The education.
Because kids weren't going to school because of the lack of education or the lack of knowledge of how to get funding for school. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, if you can imagine, you could dream bigger than your confines, what you around, that's where your success really lies. Think about you with football. You dreamt as a kid to play football professionally.
Absolutely.
That's where your success lies. Think of any philanthropist, any successful businessman, woman, where their success lies is how big they dream, beyond what they see in front of them. So that's kind of where it created, man, where it started.
So was it I know for me, it's always a specific moment that kind of spark your interest or really just spark your passion
Yeah.
as far as, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Let me put pen to paper, write this thing out, and now I got a game plan.
Yeah.
What was that moment for you?
I think it was a few things. Again, just going back to school and seeing everything being shut down or in the city and seeing schools being shut down. You know, you don't want to see that in your own neighborhood, particularly when you know you've went through certain things in your life and you like, nah, I can overcome this. So why wouldn't the next generation be able to do the same thing I did? You know, everybody's not going to be able to play football, right?
Right.
But everybody does hopefully go to school. You feel me? So it's like, yo, this is the reason, or this is the way to do it. This is where the easy path to success. And it was like, I met my one of my attorneys, Francis Katita. I told him the idea I had, and he told me, he introduced me to a philanthropic advisor, a lady named Jenny. You know Jenny Gostock, right?
Yep.
And my way to give back, that ain't the only way. You know what I'm saying? I chose a National Scholarship Fund, but you yourself, bro, you've been doing some amazing things for a lot of years. So talk about the ways that you give back and what inspired you.
I give back. You know, one of the things that I definitely do give back is I do a kids camp in my hometown, Sandersville, Georgia.
Yeah.
And actually we're coming up on the 20th year.
Sure.
So, you know, so that's been something that's been true to my heart. Listen, it's been tough.
Yeah.
It's tough, man, but the reason why I give back is, for me, man, I tell you this story. I remember being in Augusta one day. I've always wanted to be a professional athlete. And I was in Augusta one day, it's right beside my hometown. And I saw this dude walking. He had a fresh pair of Nikes. Like, he just looked like somebody. Didn't have an idea of who he was. But I heard somebody say, oh, I think he's an athlete, whatever. So I just went up and introduced myself. And, you know, he was just, his words were, man, as long as you keep your head on straight, you figure out a plan, stay to the script, and then you too can accomplish what I've accomplished. And so, you know, I was like, all right, cool. He took time out of what I was more so impressed with. I felt like I had the blueprint already, but it was just the fact that he took time out of his day just to give me those words of encouragement. And so from that is what sparked my initiative with 51 Ways. And myself, me, Carlos, Emmons, we had that charity years ago. But what the spinoff from it was the football camp that I used to do in my hometown. I still do in my hometown. And going on 20 years, man, and it's a lot of work, but it's well worth it. And the reason why I do it is because it's all about giving a kid an opportunity that he never had. That's all we ever wanted.
Facts.
I ain't asking you to give me favor, because you technically, can you really give me favor? Maybe, but I believe, my personal belief, your favor comes from your God up top. And then he don't bestow that upon somebody's heart to allow you to have favor. But for me, it was about giving somebody an opportunity that they never had to go out and neutralize the playing field. And so that's what I always wanted to do. And that has always been my intent. Going back to the crib, you know, throwing on the camp and just creating an opportunity. So when kids go out and they get ready to do drills or hear the life skills session that we talk about, or even bringing some of the professional ladies who participate in professional athletics, and or I think about Lily. Lily, she's a trainer, so she trains.
Yeah.
She was our trainer.
Yeah.
She trains the best in the world in football and basketball,
And
baseball too.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what it was all about. How can I give you something for a small moment and make a huge impact, because now you realize the world is much bigger than my community, than what I grew up in.
Similar to Beyond the Barrels, the same thing. And I think a lot of that sparked from us being able to get out of our communities and travel and see the world and see different perspectives. You going from Sandersville to Auburn to college, me going from South Jamaica, Queens to Oxford, Mississippi, and learning different coaches, you know what I mean? And you get to see different people, you get to see different struggles, you get to see different successes,
Yep.
and you get to see a different mindset and perspective on life. And then you're able to take that, bring it back to the kids that are just like you, just in the same school, neighborhoods that you were in, and give them those life lessons that they may have not gotten had you not done it. So,
and so many times we hear the quote, comparison is the thief of joy.
Mm.
It is, but it ain't, because this is one time to where you have to do that when you're not exposed.
yeah.
To where when you sit at home on TV and you grow up in a small rural town, the only thing that you believe is what you see.
Mhm.
And so if you turn on the TV and you got some ignorant shit going on, that's what you're going to have a tendency to draw upon. You know what I mean? So for me, it was all about putting an image and trying to ingrain an image that I knew that it was in the big city of Atlanta, or where your past experiences came from being out of New York. If I could take that and give it to them in a 6-7 hour time period,
Yeah.
I felt like that's the best opportunity that I could give the kids to say, you know what? I can be that too, because most times we believe that we only can be what we see.
Yeah.
And so versus you turning on TV, seeing something, which ain't nothing bad, it's influential. How about I take all of my friends who've made it and who's come from different backgrounds or the same background, but just for different place, and put them around you. Let's see how can that be attainable for you after you get the nerve and feel like, you know what? I feel like this rubbing off on me. I want to take this to the next level.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. Like, and I often say philanthropy is the most selfish, selfless act you can have. And I say that because philanthropy in itself is selfless, right? You're giving of yourself, you're giving your time, you're giving your resources, your own money, your relationships. You know, you're giving that to somebody you don't even know, to a child or an individual you don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
But the selfish part is you become hooked on it. Like you said, you've been doing it for 20 years. I had Beyond the Burrows since 2007. So the selfish part is when we receive that thank you from that same person we never knew, saying years later, like, yo, you know what? I attended a camp and I remember you said this and it stuck with me. And because of that, I'm this person today. Or somebody received a scholarship and years later, they're like, you know what? Because of that scholarship, I was able to go to school, because prior to that, I would not have had enough funds to attend college.
Well, let me ask you that then. Do you have any personal stories from what you guys have started with Beyond the Burrows, to where you affected one kid or even several kids, to where they came back and shared a testimony with you that made you felt like, man, this is all worth it?
Yeah, you do get those stories, man. It's because I was a former professional athlete, or because I am a former professional athlete, you have people that recognize you after the fact. Like I always say, more people will remember me for Beyond the Burrows than they will remember my last snap in the NFL. And that's cool. I'm cool with that. Like that, honestly, that shit don't matter at this point. But I know that through what I'm doing, my brother Reyes is doing, with my philanthropic advisor, Jenny Gold Stockwright, has helped establish, we've sent, between us and our partner organization, we've sent over 600 students to college.
Wow.
That's major, bro.
600 students.
Over 600 students. Now, we didn't do it all by ourselves. Again, we have partner organizations, et cetera. But
that's what the nonprofit is about. Everybody coming in together, right?
About, yeah. And I think the things that stuck out to me is, I remember this this one student, Kayla Joseph, and she has a company called Laid Hair Care, right? Reached out to me on LinkedIn. And she said, Mr. Reyes, thank you for your scholarship. For your scholarship, I was able to become a successful business person. Had I not received those funds, I wouldn't have been able to go to college. Now her hair brand is in Walmart's, CVS's, across the country, bro. Because I didn't know her. I never even met her. The application came in, the board read the application, we approved her, you know what I'm saying? And it's just a student that when you hear their story and it resonates, we're like, yeah, this person we want this person to be a Beyond the Barrel scholar. Or, you partner with another organization and they give you the criteria. This is who we're looking for. A black woman from an inner city, or a black male that wants to go to an HBCU. A white male that's of German descent that came as a first generation college student. It's so many different ways you can affect your community. And I think when you receive those messages, those testimonies later, it's like, yo, all right, I did the right thing. And it only take one child or kid or person to affect through your nonprofit, through your charity work, right?
Yep.
Then you could say, yo, I did my job, man. So to me, that's those moments when I receive those messages randomly from somebody, or we're able to partner one of our board members from wherever they work, their sphere of influence, with a student that actually has a desire to be in that same field.
Yep.
Give them a job in that field. It's like, bro, I'm doing my job, man. You know what I mean? So it's just bridging the gap, and that's what we do. Peeling back the layers, finding who people really are, and again, that's where the success lies, man.
It's funny you say that, because we all have testimonies, and even going back to me throwing my camp in Sandersville, Washington County, my testimony came in the form of other guys coming from my hometown, which they participated in the camp as kids and making it to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, it was myself. Well, we go to Terry Jones. He's the godfather of the ones who first made it from my hometown. Then myself. Then you look at Robert Edwards. You look at Terrence Edwards, Chris Edwards. He ended up making all the Edwards boys. But the two kids was Josh Gordy.
Yep. Super Bowl champ.
Josh come in the league first year.
First year got a ring.
Fucking wins one.
With the coach, right? Was it with the coach?
Yeah, no, with Green Bay.
Green Bay, okay.
Yeah, came in with Green Bay, bro, and he eventually got with Green Bay.
Gotcha.
Mid-season, that's what it was. Ran the table, boom, they won the championship. And so Brandon Watts is another one. And so for me, man, that was... And I didn't realize it until Josh showed me a picture of when he came to the camp.
That's dope, man.
And he was just, and we take the picture.
With the kids, yeah.
And I was like, that's when the impact was real for me. Like, it was real. And it's been plenty of times to where it's like, it's fatiguing. When you start nonprofits, it's hard to keep the funding going. Yeah. And it's easy to do while you're getting paid millions of dollars. But when it's over, when you're done, now are you still going to be responsible for throwing on the camp and taking one for the team, not asking kids to be able to pay for the camp? So, but it was all well worth it, bro, in the end.
Yeah.
Well worth it, man.
Yeah. And that's dope, too, because it's a free camp. And you look at some camps, not knocking anybody, but some 7-on-7 camps, and where a lot of people put their energy and attention now, and kids they have to pay some good money just to attend that, to get some of the same skills that they receive at your camp. So again, salute, commendable to do it going on 20 years, and kids don't have to pay a dime.
Nah, they don't, man. And that's one of the things I wanted to take pride in. I wanted to create something to where we as a culture understand and see and can touch and feel the value of what I'm offering. Like, that was the main important thing, because oftentimes it does come off and feels like, we just checking off the list, checking off the bucket list. But it ain't that. And a lot of times I became frustrated, whether or not if it's from the participation, and I'm not blaming the kids, I'm blaming the ones who are in charge of who can push the kids to signing up. Because just as you said, the frustrating thing about when you have a nonprofit and you want to create something and you don't want to have a cost associated with it, I know and I understand the value of it. But I sometimes question, do they know and understand the value of what you're receiving? Going back to the 7-on-7 camps. Man, you got people charging per day $600-$700 a day for these camps. And I got some of the same players who, legends, that go into these camps and be compensated off of the money that you actually pay. But then on top of that, I got some guys who are even better instructors. Why? Because they care.
Yeah.
They grew up in opportunity zones like this to where they, you know what, I see myself in you.
Mm-hmm.
So let me give you game on how you'll be able to do it. So the likes of yourself, Carlos Simmons, Deion Grant, Warwick Dunn, Jamal Lewis, so many guys, Josh,
Fletch, Gandy,
London Fletcher, Wayne Gandy, Willie Anderson, all of these guys come on a consistent basis. And that's where it becomes frustrating, or becomes, it's frustrating because I wonder, look, just because it's free, sometimes I wonder whether or not, do you really look at it as value because it's free? Or maybe I need to put a price tag on it in order for you to really see the value. Because any other camp that you attend, you're going to be paying at least $600-700 per day.
Yeah,
and that's not on the kids, but it's more so as a community. I want everybody to attend, and that's how big my heart is.
Yeah, man. And you do, again, I'm gonna salute you. You're doing a great job, because even with college camps, it's the same thing. Ty was in school. There's students now that attend your camp, high school students or middle school students that attend your camp. These college camps, they charging $500 for you to come up there and run around in front of a college coach too, and get instruction, game-like instruction and feedback.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really about, again, giving of yourself and what you want to do, what kind of impact you want to make. Because again, when we come from your camp alone, it's 2 hours from Atlanta. So some people fly in from other states. To come to Atlanta.
Then jump in the car.
Drive, 2 hours. So it's a lot, man. You know what I mean? And I encourage people in your community, just people in general, when you giving back, don't take it for granted. Or when something's being afforded to you, don't take it for granted. Because again, this type of knowledge you're getting, the instruction you're getting, that we would pay as when we were kids to have 10 NFL players come and tell you what you're doing right based off something that you want to do in your life, in your future.
Yeah, it's a cheat code.
And it's a cheat code. And it's not just sports, it's skills, it's life lessons, it's everything that we communicate, man. And I think it shouldn't be taken for granted. And when it comes to some of the higher ups or the people that are decision makers that can help out with these processes, with the giving back, with the instruction, with getting the kids there, with helping structure the camps or structure, even with me, the scholarship fund, I think it being met with resistance sometimes because we are looked at as success, the ones that made it.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing. Like, people always, when I started the nonprofit, people always said, oh, athletes can't be philanthropists. Jenny literally worked for Rockefeller Philanthropy. Not Rockefeller, the label, the Jay-Z and Dame and them, Rockefeller Philanthropy.
Yeah.
Right? She said she was going to work for a professional athlete, me, first professional athlete client. They told her athletes can't be philanthropists.
Why?
They said athletes don't know anything about philanthropy. So Jenny's like, well, he can learn. When I first worked with y'all, I didn't know anything either. You learned what you were taught, right? They were like, yeah.
The dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Yo, bro, but look who it's coming from. The Rockefeller family, right?
Yep.
So they said, okay, well, you could work with him, but if you work with him, you no longer can work with us. She's like, all right, cool. And she started working with me. And now she has a successful career as a philanthropic advisor, several clients. And through that, she's worked with Serena Williams and her fund, Torrey Smith, our boy, his fund, Level 82.
T. Smith.
Yes, sir. Countless other athletes as well. So it just goes to show you that given a chance, an athlete can also be a philanthropist. You know what I'm saying? And even working with her, just everything that transpired with me, I even had a bringing in lumber moment. Believe it or not.
What?
A bringing in lumber moment, powered by Yellowwood.
All right.
Now, this is so crazy because you know me, I used to do the 24 hours to live, right?
Right.
We talk about it all the time, where we dip in, get to a city, hang out, do our thing, and get back to work the next day, right? So you have a win Monday or you have a Monday off, travel, get back on Tuesday. So one time when I started Beyond the Burrows in 2007, I'm like, all right, I have to have a fundraiser throughout the year because it's like, how are we going to raise money, right? I'm not going to keep just writing checks all the time to fund it. I couldn't do it. I wasn't, bringing in tens of millions of dollars. So I'm just like, how can I do this? I said, all right, Monday Night Football in New York is a thing. All my board members were in New York. I'm like, all right, I'm going to fly to New York, have the fundraiser, watch Monday Night Football. You know what I used to do? I would bring the athletes to watch the football game and have the Wall Street guys, the execs, CEOs come down, rub elbows, and that's where the fundraiser would take place. So I tried to do it in the beginning of the season when I was with the Jaguars in 2007. And we wound up losing or something. And Coach Del Rio was like, nah, y'all got to come in and work the next day. So we worked Monday to like maybe 1 or 2 o'clock. Couldn't make the last flight out to make it in New York in time for the game. Didn't work. So halfway, I pushed it back. Halfway through the season, we playing again. We wound up losing. But I had scheduled this fundraiser again. The second time, you can't back out of a fundraiser. Like, it's, unheard of, right? Not your first one. This was my first one. So I'm like, all right, we're going to go do the fundraiser. I got about 4 or 5 guys. Maurice Jones-Drew at the time, my man Uche, rest in peace. A couple other guys. We like, yo, we're going to fly to New York, Drake and Florence, and have a fundraiser.
Yep.
Party, but have a fundraiser after. So go up there. Coach Del Rio's like, all right, we got to run. We lost. So he's like, come in here, go outside. We're going to run, da-da-da-da. Watch the film. He's cursing us out, pissed. I'm like, yo, we got flights to catch in the back of my mind. But he don't know we leaving yet. So finally, I'm like, yo, you know what? I'm going to have to go into his office and talk to him. So everybody like, yo, you going to talk to coach after we just lost to get out of running, which is the punishment when you know what I'm saying, we lose? They's like, yo, you crazy. I'm like, bro, I can't do nothing but shoot it to him straight.
Yeah,
I got the fundraiser, right? So I told him, I was like, yo, coach, he's like, yeah, what's up, too? I'm like, yo, I got remember I had that fundraiser I got to do in New York, so I got to catch the flight to go up there. I don't want to miss out on running, but got to do this fundraiser, no disrespect or whatever. He's like, all right, too, man, you can go up there. And he walks away. I was like, yeah, but it's more than that. He said, what? So I got about 5 guys on the team that's coming with me for the fundraiser. He's like, 5 of y'all flying to New York during the middle of the season? I was like, yeah, but coach, again, it's my 7th year in the league, 8th year in the league. I'm like, coach, but it ain't gonna be no issues. We got security, fly us up there. It's a fundraiser. Ain't gonna be nothing crazy. We're gonna fly in, security with us. We'll be safe. We'll get right back. He's like, man, I don't know, man. So then he walks away from me again. So I'm like, damn. I go back in the locker room. Everybody is quiet in the locker room. Everybody looking at, what happened? Coach Del Rio comes in there. He's like, all right, man, that was a piss poor effort. We can't let this shit happen again. Fuck out of here. I don't want to see y'all no more. So everybody looking like, yo, 2 got us out of practice. So now I'm cool with everybody on the team too, because I got us out of practice. But long story short, we wound up going up to New York from Jacksonville, catching the flight. My first fundraiser ever, bro. We raised over $100,000 for scholarships.
Yep.
Got in, out of New York, no issues, no drama, nobody arrested, no nothing that you would think would happen during the season, no social media. So whatever happened that I thought happened didn't happen, but everything that was supposed to happen happened the way it was supposed to happen. It was good, man. So that worked out. So that was my bringing the lumber moment, because I bought the lumber, got us out, hardest hit, my first lick as a philanthropist, raised over $100,000 and got us out of practice.
That's a nice ass lick, bro.
Yeah, man. Just doing my thing.
Way to bring the lumber, big guy.
You know what I'm saying? Doing what I do. But it's opportunities. And again, sometimes you got to think outside the box, right?
Yeah.
Because everything is not scripted. Everything doesn't go the way you want it to go. Sometimes you want to have a certain amount of attendance at camps that you don't have. Sometimes I want to have a certain amount of attendance at fundraisers I don't have. You want to raise a certain amount of money you don't. So sometimes you have to navigate and move and find the right ways to, move your chess pieces in a way so you get the results you want. So
yeah, and for me, I think the biggest thing that when I keep hearing you talk about the impact that you made, the impact and the influence that you left on the younger kids that didn't have a clue that it was coming. The word in my mind that keeps coming up is legacy. And the legacy that you brought, the legacy that you leave behind is always important. And so I think about the legacy of why why you do it and what do you hope to leave from it, especially with your community. I was always taught, you never want to be the first, and you damn sure don't want to be the last.
Right.
Why? Because you are way behind time.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm such a person that's like I'm always trying to. I get it. Everybody ain't. You don't deserve to sit in the seat that I do.
Mm-hmm.
But you do deserve to see what you deserve to see.
Facts.
And so, for me, what does that legacy looks like is making sure I'm not the first, making sure I'm not the last, but also leaving a lasting impact that can be influential to the kids to where that they truly can believe that they can be what they see.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. And that's what it's about, I think. You talk about that legacy, that's leaving something behind long after you're gone. So again, if I had one scholarship recipient, I could say, you know what, I impacted one child's life, or one person's life, one young adult's life. Over 600, bro. I think.
And that goes back to the over 600 scholarships that you've given out.
Scholarships, man. And that's all my board members, everybody that's ever donated, you, all the athletes that have ever came up, all the politicians, all the CEOs, all the execs, all the students that said, you know what, we received a scholarship, now we want to graduate. I don't know the exact graduation rate, but it's very high. Like we support those students and give them an opportunity after. Again, if you're in a specific field, for instance, Oscar De La Renta, the late Oscar De La Renta, he was a fashion icon. He gave one of our first scholarships, and he had his flagship store in New York. We had a young lady that wanted to study fashion. So she went to the Fashion Institute in Florida. And for her internships, she received a job at the flagship store in New York, in Oscar De La Renta. Now, that's unheard of for a college kid, right? So she got a stepping stone just to go up there and do what she wanted to do. She'll never forget it. And you've been to the events. The students come back and they speak about what that scholarship, with somebody that, again, they don't even know, helping them out in their time of need, what that meant to them.
Yep.
So for me, that's the legacy piece, is leaving a lasting impact on somebody that doesn't even know you, but knows that you care. Your people, your sphere of influence cares, and they have an opportunity to be who they want to become. Because again, everybody's not going to be a professional athlete. We get that. We always say there's way more professionals than there are professional athletes.
Facts.
That's just a fact. So if I, my brother Ray, my board members, if we can sit there and help a young person become what they want to become, as you mentioned, in whatever aspect that is, as long as it's a positive influence on society, it's like, why wouldn't we do that? And for us, the method is education. Because at some part, you got to know something. You know what I mean? So if you want to go to school, www.beyondtheburrows.org. Fill out the application. We're going to open it back up for next year, 2025, and accept new applicants. And of course, if you want to donate to www.beyondtheburrows.org. And support, man. That's all it is. If you have a little, give a little. If you have a lot, give more. Don't take much, man. You know what I'm saying?
Don't take much.
Because you never know. Again, if you short $1,000 and it means, okay, maybe I don't go to the school of my choice, or maybe I have to go this route, or maybe not attend school at all, or a college equivalent. Maybe I don't go to fashion school. Maybe I have to do something else. Why are you going to sit there and short your dreams for $1,000? Like, we doing our best to do our best, bro. So it's been working so far, and I think that's the legacy piece to continue paying it forward.
No doubt, bro. So salute to you and Beyond the Burrows, bro.
Yes, indeed.
We always can support.
Absolutely.
And we ain't gonna put too much a burden on everybody.
Nah.
But everybody kind of chime in and you kick in a little bit.
Yes, indeed.
Then everything will be all right, because I'm a firm believer in this. Why wait for somebody else to save you when you got your own folk to save you?
Factual.
Just a little bit. Everybody give a little, we'll be all right.
That's it. That's all it takes, man.
Salute to athletes giving back.
There it is.
The philanthropy edition.
I got it.